Welcome to another East Trade Winds presentation with Ben Joyer.
I love books. I love to talk about books and love to help people understand all the amazing possibilities from and thanks to a book and the clarion call for more books, more good books in the world, right? Because we have more good books in the world, we have more good messages in the world, and we have more good leaders bringing their voice into the world as well. So with that, I want to talk about some fun things today, some important things today, right? The real truth about editing, publishing, and launching your book right. So some real important things today with the intention of, hey, it's easier and more possible and more valuable and functional than ever to get your book done or get your next book done for the sake of your business and for the sake of the impact you want to make. So, hey, did you know a good book is good for your business? And the short list here: instant authority and credibility. You stand out as an expert or thought leader, and you can make a bigger impact. You attract more leads, clients, and partners. You tell your story and you share your message. All real, real good things from and thanks to your book. And like I said, it's easier than ever to produce and publish a high quality book that you're proud of. Very important, right? We don't want to publish crap. And then make it available worldwide. Thank you to our friend, the internet. So, hey, very important to keep in mind, there are more than 500 individual steps to produce, publish, and distribute a book correctly, right? So make sure you do it right. Don't do it yourself. Hire a professional, right? Don't fix your own septic tank or electric for similar kinds of reasons. Get some help with your book. Very, 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 very important. And I'm going to focus on a few things today around publishing your book right. Intellectual property, IP, and the fact that it's your book. Gosh darn it, avoiding the expensive pitfalls, because there are quite a few. It's a bit of the Wild West out there, in the publishing world. For you all, maybe it's the Wild North, for several of you at least. Production best practices, publishing best practices, and launching best practices. So we're not going to go through the 500 things today, obviously, but the most important ones that will help empower your thinking around the book, making good choices, and potentially bringing your book or your next book into the world. So some books here that I've had the honor and pleasure to help bring forth, helped all sorts of people write their books throughout the years. Commonality is the purpose-driven, mission-driven, make a difference kind of aspect to the people that I serve, right? And for me, it's all about how do you bring a high quality book to the world that you're proud of, right? Do it expediently while maintaining, like I said, the quality, attract business before it's done, and use it strategically to make a bigger impact, right? And where a lot of people are focusing on, all sorts of noise around books and all the possibilities, because there are many, we want to keep it clear and direct around one important thing, right? Is the relationships that come thanks to one's book, versus the number of book sales or how many followers you get on Instagram or whatever the case may be, right? Because of the relationships that you cultivate with people can turn into high quality outcomes. Many of those relationships happening even before your book is done, and many of them potentially turning into 5 and 6 figure outcomes, like lots of my clients, right? 5 figure speaking, 6 figure consulting, a $50,000 coaching program. A lot of my clients from conversations about the book before it was even done. So book changes everything, and all sorts of good business reasons, to make it happen. And had the pleasure certainly of helping people write high quality books, and been doing this business for 6 years. It's been a lot of fun, but it wasn't always like this. Right? I had my journey to get here, as we've all had our journeys, to get where we are. And I often tell the story. I've told this from stage and on podcasts and in various other forms and situations of being in southern India on a hike in 2004, and in the space of 72 hours facing death 4 times. Bus almost going over off a mountain, and then running from a wildfire, and then encountering a poisonous snake, right? And then encountering a mountain lion, right? And I talk about the second story of India and hiking through the Himalayas for 9 days with blisters on my Achilles tendons, right? Absolute misery, but with the discovery of some deep and wonderful insight. right? And ultimately that you don't have to suffer through writing a book, right? And led me to this phrase, which I wrote all by myself: a light mind is the right mind to write. A light mind is the right mind to write, to lead, to have a difficult conversation, to do pretty much anything. If you think about it. A light mind is the right mind to access that space of intuition that has been talked about earlier today. And I realized from my own experience with books and drugs for way too long in my life and almost dying, there is pain and there is challenge and there's, all of that kind of stuff as a part of our human experience, but we don't have to suffer through it, right? And especially writing a book, we put our stake in the ground and we stir the pot. So all sorts of feelings and thoughts and sensations and doubts and fears and maybe imposter syndrome and all this other stuff comes up. And you can do one of two things, right? You can get totally involved in whatever the story is and let it stop you from bringing your message to the world, or you can smile and relax, let it go, and get back to writing and get back to making a bigger difference in the world. So, wrote my first book, Marketing with a Heart. This is how everything started, 2014. But still, at this point, had tons and tons of debt. All the drugs, all those years, had to take all the money out of my retirement account. Go to India, get my act together, come back, fix the debt, right? Rebuild my business. And the big turning point was my second book, Influence with a Heart, because this is the book that I wrote, produced, printed, shipped, autographed, and delivered by hand to my audience of 130 business leaders at Stanford University. And when I said yes to doing this training at Stanford University, I had not written this book yet. People are like, "Hey, you want to do this training?" I'm like, "Yep, we signed the contract. I have 6.5 weeks to do the book, and I show up with books. And this changes everything, right? More speaking gigs, thanks to this book. Speaking in Australia at the audience company headquarters, thanks to this book. And as I'm frantically writing the book, if we go back in time slightly, I got the cover of the book design and I put it up on LinkedIn. And I said, "Hey, please celebrate with me. My next book is coming." And about a week later, somebody reaches out to me and says, "Hey, Ben, I'm a consultant. I'm working on this project. It's a Fortune 100 company, MIT, and a video game studio. And we're developing this mindfulness and empathy video game that's going to be played by 20,000 customer experience employees at this Fortune 100 company. We saw your book." And in my head, I'm going, "You only saw the cover of my book. We saw your book. We'd like you to write the curriculum for the video game." And I went, "Of course I'll write the curriculum for the video game." 10 months of consulting with the Fortune 100 company. And so it was these two circumstances, right? The Fortune 100 company in Stanford, where 18 months later, because sometimes it takes a minute, right, for the idea and the insight to happen. But 18 months later, I was like, "Oh my God, I can teach people how to do that. And I can show people how to write a high quality book in 5 weeks, how to get clients and partners before the book is done from conversations about the book. I can hold their hand through the publishing. I can show them how to use the book as a business asset, right? I can make sure they don't have to take out a second mortgage on their house because they choose the wrong kind of publishing, right? All the things." And, happy to say and happy to celebrate that as of December, this has been 6 years doing this. This is me in Sydney, Australia, speaking on stage. And the reason why there's a second person on there is because for my second talk, second day in Sydney, I delivered content with a simultaneous Chinese translation. I don't know if y'all have ever done that before, but that is a trip, right? Imagine giving a talk and there's some dude on stage with you speaking Chinese the whole time. Um, Very surreal, very wonderful, and very beautiful, right? Because my books opened up the possibility to, more possibilities to pursue my own dreams. This is the smile on my face when I made the decision to move to Spain at the end of 2022. I've now been here for 2 years. It's been amazing. It was hard, don't get me wrong, but it's amazing. Real quick sidebar, but if you're thinking about a book or you're somewhere through, somewhere in the middle there, I invite you to check out my assessment 2-minute thing to make sure your book is going to work and identify some gaps, because it's a real drag to put your book in the world and then it doesn't work. I've seen that so many times and it's really, really heartbreaking. So that is in the chat for you. So remember, we're covering these five important parts, the biggest, most importantest things that I can say about these. Okay. Don't use a traditional publisher for your book. 99% of the time, do not do professional self-publishing instead, right? Get a company under the umbrella of self-publishing, but get a company to help you. Because when you sign a contract with a traditional publisher, they immediately take ownership of your book. And most of that time, that can only end badly. Okay. Make sure you're getting a full publishing, leveraging, launch solution, not just we publish your book. There's so many publishing companies out there. They're like, here's a slice of pizza, but we swear it's going to feed your whole family. And that's not the case. And people are charging, you know, 30, 40, 50, 60, more than 100,000 bucks for publishing alone without strategy, revenue generation, anything like that. Terrifying, right? Production best practices, under the get the full pizza. Very important keywords, category research, proofreading, multiple formats, global distribution, right? Get your book out there, let people find it, and be able to make the claim because it's true that your book is available in more than 40,000 places around the world. Most people won't buy it in the 40 places, but man, it makes you sound like a badass, right? Publishing best practice. As soon as you publish your book, take a vacation. I am not kidding when I say this. You just put down potentially a burden of a lifetime, a privileged, blessed burden, but a burden nonetheless. You're relieving your heart, your mind, your psyche. Take a vacation. If you can't take a vacation, sit on the couch and watch Netflix and eat croissants for the whole weekend. Do something, but chill out. Like, this is a huge moment, and a book is a deeply transformational process. And like anything else, you gotta rest. This is a beautiful thing, and you gotta rest. Last one here, launching best practices. Leverage your cover before your book is done. You heard me talking about that already. Make sure to separate your book release from your bestseller launch. That's the other big strategy. Most people release their book, and the same day they're like, help me be a bestseller, right? That's the time that they should be on vacation. The trick is you do the bestseller launch 2 or 3 or 4 months later, and in that interim time, which I call a smart gap, you develop relationships with people and you get books into people's hands and you get on podcasts. And then by time you do the bestseller launch 2 to 4 to whatever months later, imagine all the people who are in the mix now, who can support you, who can share your launch with their network. How many people, how many clients you may have already from and thanks to your book, right? And how much more reach you will get because of this. Speaking of books, there are real people who will have their book draft done by September 15th, 2026. And actually, the word draft shouldn't even be there. So if you can X that out in your mind, there are real people who will have their entire book done and in their hands by September 15th of this year. So if you want to be one of them, please reach out to me. It would be my pleasure. Now's your time. There are people who need you more than ever. World needs you more than ever. The world needs us more than ever. Like, we're the people who are doing the thing and have the privilege and the opportunity and the capability and the heart to do it. So may you do that. And if I can support you, it'd be my pleasure. Thank you very much.
We thank you for watching. We meet every Tuesday between 8 and 9 a.m. Eastern. There is no cost and an option to become a speaker too. Find East Trade Wins on LinkedIn.